This is Dad Mentality. I am Rodney Glover. I'm your host. So we're going to tell you a little bit about ourselves. So that's all. You'll definitely learn more about us as this podcast goes on. I'm grateful that I'm excited about it. I'm excited about what we're getting ready to get into and what we're going to start. The thing is, I've been blessed with a lot of friends that all are great men and dads. But I found that we don't talk to each other enough.
There is a difference between being a good man and being good at being a man.
Cleo, he was about all these motorcycles, all these cars, everything I can think of,
I wouldn't change a thing. Like some things you look at me like, wow, but honestly, man, I wouldn't change it. We experience and those things, ultimately make us who we are. That's what I believe. Like.
Hello. Welcome to Dad Mentality. Thank you for joining us another week here on Dad Mentality. I'm glad to be here again as we have another show for y'all. This week, I'm excited. We have three special guests this week. Three very independent women, and as far as business and education, these ladies are, as long as I've known them, have excelled in everything that they've done. I'm excited to have them here and just talk about self-care and self-worth and how you feel about yourself and wellness. So I'm going to go ahead and, I don't do it by myself, to introduce my guest host. We've been together since the Sandbox, hanging out since we were 4 years old. And my man, Vance Robs, a.k.a. Coach.
What's going on, Rodney?
Nothing much,
Ladies,
brother.
Maddie, Ice, how y'all doing today?
Everybody doing good, man. Hey, so next, this man is joined us and is now a permanent host. I'm glad to announce that, even though he didn't agree to it, but I'm telling him now he's a permanent host. And he's joined us and made us money off that Bitcoin. Y'all know him as the diversified hustler. Matty Ice Cold Crypto. What's up, dog?
What's good, man? Everybody feeling tonight?
Good. I'm feeling good, man. Hey, I'm just happy that you feeling better because I know you were sick last week, so I'm glad everybody's here. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce these three young ladies who joined us today. I'm going to go ahead and start with the first one I met. So I met this young lady, and I think probably like a week or 2 weeks after I met her, she walked up to me and told me that I was never going to be anything, that I wasn't good enough to be dating her friend, and that, as far as she's concerned, I'll be out of here in the next 2 weeks if she can have her way. But we ended up, mending our conversations, becoming friends, getting closer. Luckily, she found the love of her life, Brandon O'Neill, who became my close friend. And, then she had to soften up a little bit. So I'm happy with that. She's been married 18 years. She's a mother of 3 scholars and athletes. She's raised with the help of Brandon because, my man had to help her out there on that. But, he did something right, so I'm proud of him. But, this young lady has always told me the truth, whether I liked it or not, and I respect her for that. She's always been, anytime I've called, she's always answered. She's never told me no, except for the first, month and a half I was dating her friend, which is now married 23 years to. But, it's Faith O'Neill. How you doing, Faith?
Rodney, the last half of that was true. Although I think you got it out of order. I don't think I was the first one you met, but
I met you before I met LaShanya. I met you before I met LaShanya. Oh, did I? Hold on.
Nope.
I introduced you to Vicky, so there's no way.
I was about to say,
I'm confused. You know why I'm confused? Because you were so young. You were only like 12 or 13.
I was 12.
So that made me think in my head that I was 12 or 13 when I met you. I don't
sir,
know.
you were old.
You know what? I'm sorry. I apologize.
older
You know,
than
I'm
you.
getting old. I'm getting old. I'm sorry. You know, in my
But we don't
old
even have to
age,
go there. No,
I
fake
just
memories
knew.
All
first.
y'all.
We can keep it
I
there.
just knew. So, all right. Well, I apologize. You're right. Well, you know, so all right. Well, this young lady needs no introduction. She's been on the show before when we talked about relationships, and you know, she's always been candid and loving, and you know, she is a role model to my daughter, my son, and I know she's a role model to many, many, many young ladies and kids across the world. She graduated from Spelman. She probably has more degrees on her wall than I got, you know, than I got speeding tickets. So I have no idea, you know, how much stuff she does. I know she moved away out to the West Coast to get away from us because she knew we was crazy over here. But you know, y'all
Away from the snow.
met her before. It's LaShanya. What's up, LaShanya? How you doing?
Hey, how's it going, Rodney? I'm good. Look, I
Um,
didn't try to move away from you all. I tried to move away from that cold weather and that snow that you all have right now. That's the only reason. I need some sunshine. That's all. I
It's
love
all
you all.
good. Hey, man, as long as I got a place when me and Vicky come to Cali, that's all that matters to me.
All day.
So, you know, last but of course not least, I met this young lady in college at George Mason. She was my now wife's roommate. I can't really say anything bad about her, except for I got one thing I'll wait to the end. But she's the mother of my godson, Sean, who's an excellent young man. He's growing, doing business. He taught me, before you, Matty Ice, he was talking to me about crypto and investment in stocks and stuff like that. But, you know, I was like, you too young for me to listen to you, so I didn't. But it was my fault. Now he out in Atlanta making good money and this, that, and the other. But anyway, but she's one of the hardest working women that I know. Her AKA is Lady K of Wellness. You can check her out on Instagram, Facebook, wherever you want to go. She's also the owner of Scrubby. So if you need any kind of house cleaning or cleaning out or anything like that, maid service, monthly or residential or whatever, you call her at Scrubby. She'll take care of you. Tell them you want the dad mentality discount, which probably be nothing, but I'm just saying you can ask and see what happens. And she's been married 13 years to my man, Roderick. So I'm proud that she's here, and she always kept it straight every time I've talked to her. The only thing I got to say about her is she's a Cowboys fan, which, you know, some people just grow up wrong. So anyway, Kendra, how you doing, Kendra Smith?
I am doing good. I'm doing good. How are you all tonight?
Man, great. We're great. We're great. So we're going to hurry up and go ahead. We got a lot of people jump into these mental health check-ins. So I'm going to go ahead and get it out the way and go first so that I don't have to. So my mental health was great this week. I had a lot of positive things. Like I said, I changed bosses. My new boss is amazing. It really took a lot of stress off of me to work with a guy. I worked with him before, and now I'm working with him now. And it took so much stress off of me that, you know, he decided to bring me on his team, which he had to go out his way to get me. So I was happy about that, and he appreciates me, and I appreciate him. So that took a lot of stress. So I think last week I was a 7.2. Some more things happened. So I'm going to say I'm a strong 8 right now. I still have some places to grow. I got to grow my business at work and get that back. And then, you know, other than that, the home life has been doing good. My kids are doing good, doing great. My daughter's birthday is coming up. She's turning 17. So I'm starting to get scared now because I know it's soon to be college and leaving out and stuff like that. And I don't know if I'm ready. But I'm going to try to do my best. So I'm going to say I'm a strong 8 right now, but I was 8 until about yesterday afternoon. I'm not going to lie. I was in the bed asleep. And let's get something straight. I probably call Coach 13 times a week, right? He don't never call me. I'm asleep. Phone rings. I'm like, oh, Coach, let me make sure my baby's okay. Let me hurry up and answer the phone. What's up, Coach? He goes, you see the score of the game right now? I was like, what game? He was like, the Cowboys Green Bay. I was like, nah, I went to sleep. He was like, yo. He was like, all I know is I better see something that say I'm Jordan Love's #1 fan. So, all right, here we go. I'm going to go ahead and put it on. Make sure the camera can see it. I pay my bets. Can't believe he let me down, unfortunately, like that, you know. I mean, I was happy he beat the Cowboys, but I definitely didn't think, you know, because he's been garbage all season. But anyway, I'll let it go. I'm done. So, Vance, you want to go next? I'm sure you want to talk about it. So go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go next. I mean, I think I appreciate you paying your best on time. Yeah, and acknowledging, you know what I'm saying, Jordan Love's skill set at this point. You know what I mean? It helped out a lot of Commander fans last week. So, you know what I mean? It made their season for them. You know what I mean? So, as far as mental health over the last week, it's been a pretty even week for the most part. Was dealing with a couple issues with my oldest. For those of y'all that have older kids, she's 20, about to be 21. So she's going through that transition phase of when am I adult or when am I a kid phase, right? So just a couple things that we had to work through. Whether or not she wants to be a young adult that will heed advice, or she want to be a full-grown adult out there on her own. You know what I mean? And that's just a different conversation. You know what I mean? It's different than dealing with a 10-year-old transitioning or a 7-year-old, 6-year-old transitioning independence. Because in all honesty, it don't really matter to the parents. Like, oh, we're going to say what we say, but it's your life at this point, right? So it's just a matter of just praying and having the patience and working through, you know what I'm saying, her get through that transition. I am proud, very, very proud of her, because she was able to have a grown-up conversation and probably her first difficult conversation, you know what I mean, with her parents. So that in and of itself probably hovered the week around 7.5. Everything else is pretty normal. A very, very busy week. You know what I mean? It was the real first full week of school last week. So a lot of running around, a lot of applications that got to be filled out, because we do got a couple kids transitioning from elementary to middle. You know what I mean? Then we're trying to switch schools. So we just out here filling out all financial aid stuff and all types of things this week. So just a busy week, but nothing bad. Outside of us losing on our parlay the first game, which we completely sold it. The Sunday afternoon was definitely the highlight of the week. You know what I mean? So for sure. You know what I mean? So that was my week.
Heard. All right. What about you, Matty Ice?
I'm gonna say I'm gonna pull one of yours. I'm at like a 7.5 this week, 7.3, 7.5. I'm gonna say, because I'm feeling better. I was just out of it, exhausted. I don't know if I had the flu, COVID, or whatever, but I just was like beat all last week. Like, only went into the shop one day last week, and probably shouldn't even went in that day. And but today I woke up feeling back refreshed, feeling good. Had some time to research when I was sick though, and got into a new business venture and opportunity over the weekend that I'm excited about. And I got a delivery yesterday of some new equipment for my truck. That we're gonna be offering some new products on the truck next summer. So I got some new equipment in, started working on some of that, like getting some new things ready for this spring for the truck. So that got me excited to get that delivery in yesterday of that new machine. Yeah, about 7.5. So just, feeling good, optimistic right now about some things in business and in life.
All right, cool beans. All right, so I guess I'll go for this time for who I've met the first. So we'll go LaShanya. Go ahead and give us your mental health check-in.
Let's see. Look, I'll sound like I'm copying off of everyone, but I'll do a 7.5 too, only because I have high expectations for 2024. Like, I really feel like this is going to be an amazing year. So I don't want to start off giving like the first couple of weeks such a high number, but this was really a dope week. Like, you mentioned me being in the West Coast kind of by myself. So this is the first time my brother and my mom both have been out here visiting me at the same time. So it's been amazing being kind of surrounded by my family for the past couple of weeks over the holidays. And I have family in Arizona. So we actually, me and Dwayne and my mom got in the car and drove out to Arizona to go visit my family that lives in Arizona. So that was even like more icing on the cake for.
Did you make them listen to Lucy Pearl?
Time. What's that?
Did you make them listen to Lucy Pearl the whole time?
Shut up. You know what? Dwayne controlled the music, unfortunately. I'm not even going to go into his playlist, what he had going on in the car. But
we learned a little bit on our last episode when we had the Dad's Gone Wild live joint. Yeah, we learned that his opinion is very terrible. Don't worry about it.
in terms of his musical taste, right?
It
So
turns
I
a lot of
just had
things.
an amazing time in Phoenix and got to go hiking, which is like one of my favorite things to do. And so it was just an amazing week. So I'll give it a 7.5 only because I feel like the rest of the year is going to be like amazing. So I don't want to start off too high.
Okay.
With this first week. Yeah.
All right. Kendra, Faith. Sorry, Faith. Got to keep my order right. All right, Faith, go ahead. You're next.
I'm gonna split it right down the middle and go with 5. And this is a good episode. Mental health, right? I have a very stressful job, so I probably stay at a state of 5, but throughout the week it's a 10 all the way down to a 1. Yeah, I'd say a 5. And I had something today. It was actually a 9 this morning, and then I checked some emails and realized I missed something in the email that happened yesterday, which brought it down. So now I got to face a monster tomorrow at work. So that's where I am.
So one thing we always talk about is life is peaks and valleys. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
You got to remember that. You got to remember the peaks, because when you go into the valleys, you got to know that nothing lasts forever. That's the other thing we always bring up when we talk to each other. Nothing lasts forever. And the sad thing is sometimes the worry about what you think is going to happen is a lot of times worse than what actually happens.
So
what I'm saying?
Yeah, very true. My husband, I'm sure you heard it from somewhere, but it's facing the monster. So I got the email and I'm like, shoot, I'm down at a 2 and I got to bring it back up. But then my thought is, okay, well, what's the worst that could happen now that I missed this, right? And then just facing it head on. Okay, well, that's what we're dealing with now. Here's the process to get through that, right? And most of the time, it's not as bad as you think it is.
Yeah, absolutely. The anxiety of waiting to see what's going to happen is the worst part a lot of the times. Because, I know you're a great worker, and your work ethic and everything you've done in the past, you got to remember, I always say to my wife and myself 2 things. 1, I can't get upset about something I can't control. And 2, that, whatever happens yesterday happened yesterday. Like, shit, all I can do is worry about today, what's going on from that point on. So, I hope things work out. I hope that next time you're on the show, you tell us it ended up being nothing and everything ends up working out.
It'll be nothing by tomorrow evening, and I'll be back at a 2 for something else.
All right.
Keep pushing.
Hey, keep pushing. All right, Kendra, well, how about you? Where you at?
I'm gonna say right now I'm at an 8. I definitely have my peaks and valleys. This is definitely a peak moment, so I'm gonna embrace it. Had some good, the last week or 2 actually has been great. Starting off the new year strong. I've been working with me and my best friends have been working with taking some time out every Monday to do a map it out Monday. And so it's helped me because I'm an overthinker, Faith, like you were kind of talking about. It's like, oh my gosh, thinking about stuff. Definitely an overthinker. So I dealt with that so much in 2023. So 2024, trying to do something different. And it's helped a lot to kind of help with those peaks and valleys. My son just turned 21, just took him his birthday present, which was a car. He's doing great.
Hold on, slow down.
I'm doing good.
Hold on, did you just say,
I
want to make sure I heard that correctly. Did you say my son just turned 21?
Yeah.
And I took him his birthday present, which is a car.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
My son's he's in Atlanta. I bought him a car for his birthday.
Wow.
So yeah.
You can't just pass by that.
Man, you said like Batty Ice.
Yeah, you can't just pass by
I
that.
was about to say they ain't gonna let you hear the end of that, man. You can't buy your nothing.
You sound like Batty Ice.
21.
You can't even fix dinner for your kids on this show. You know what I'm saying?
Like
Like,
buying you a car at 21. You're not supposed to be buying him a car. And I know he can buy you a car. So that's the other worst part. So you buying something that he already can get.
Well, hopefully one day I've already picked out the car he's gonna get me, which is a Lamborghini truck. We actually went to see it when I was down in Atlanta. So
Okay.
we getting there. We got our eyes on the prize. But for now it's my turn.
Well, my birthday in September, so I'm gonna be looking out. I'm gonna let you know that right now. I'm gonna be looking out. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yeah. If Sean can get a car, I mean, you know, I can at least get like a 4-wheeler, a go-kart or something. Hook a brother up. But anyway,
I'll sell you my bike.
Hey, hell yeah, I'll buy your bike. I'll buy your bike, yeah. Well, I'm not supposed to be buying no more bikes. We'll talk about that later. Hold on. We'll talk about that later. Anyway. We're gonna get to the main topic this week, and I'm just gonna go through. So when I decided about this, I kind of was doing some research for myself, and I was doing a lot of research into depression. So next week, that's the episode we're going to be talking about next week with Jamil Garrett, is about depression, and it was giving me the differences between male depression and female depression, that they're very different. So then I started looking into self-care and self-love and all these things that we talk about, because I always felt like we talked about this, it was helping both things, but then I realized that maybe it is different. Maybe, you know, and then I started talking to my wife about it and realized it is absolutely different. The things that I appreciate and not the things that my wife appreciates. And I mean, I felt like that's something that our listeners should know, that even as a man, if you have a woman or a wife, you might be doing things all wrong, thinking you're helping her in this aspect, and she really wants that aspect. So, you know, I just wanted to have a candid conversation. I picked 3 of the strongest ladies that I know, and I'm glad y'all joined me. And just, you know, so the first thing I watched, and they talked about this term, and we've talked about this term as men, but not in the same way. So the term is a strong Black woman. You have to be a strong Black woman. Now, in my eyes, in the aspect of the word, it should be something positive. But then I started actually breaking down what we've been taught all our life. And if you're holding on to that term, that I have to be a strong Black woman, to me, that's actually can hurt you. So my thing is, and I'm just gonna go back to what we've already talked about, because us as men, we always told we can't cry. You can't do this. You can't do that. You're not allowed to show this weakness. You're not allowed to show that. You got to hold that in. You got to keep it to yourself. And a lot of times that, whenever you hold that in and you keep it to yourself and you don't allow it out or have a way to let it out, it always comes out as anger. And as men, we've been taught our life, we're allowed to show everything. We're allowed to not show anything but anger. You know what I'm saying? And that is something that people write, oh, he's angry. He's the angry Black man, whatever the case may be. And I kind of feel like even the term strong Black woman can be a positive term. But if you can't be strong all the time, I even told my wife, if I can't be vulnerable with you, then who can I be vulnerable with? And to me, that has to me, when women are told they got to be strong Black woman, or this, that, and other, you know, who can you be vulnerable with? So that's my turn. So my question is, when you hear the term strong Black woman, what does it mean to you? And we'll go ahead and start with Kendra this time.
The first thing that rolls off is, you know, smart, resilient, independent, resourceful, wise, been through something, been through a storm, or has been through trials and have come out on the other side of that. She's more wise. The other part of when I think of strong Black woman is probably tired because we've always got to be everything for everyone to be that strong Black woman. And she's probably tired if she is that typical strong Black woman.
Okay. Shania?
Look, Rodney, I have a lot of thoughts on this term. So help me out here. I need a little more context. So do you mean strong Black woman in the sense of just like the broader society, a strong Black woman in America? Do you mean a strong Black woman in relationships and how we deal with our men and our being in our family? Do you mean it like on a personal level? Like what context do you want me to hit first? Because I could go all night on strong Black woman. Well, I have a whole lot of thoughts on it.
Start with personal.
Oh, okay. So personally, I wouldn't consider myself a strong Black woman in the sense of when you're born a Black woman, you already have to deal with sexism, classism in most cases, and gender equality, right? So just being a Black woman existing in America, we have to be strong, right? So being and living in that strength is just me being who I am. So now I'm at the point in my life where I don't have to focus on being strong. I can focus on all the other aspects of me, where I can be empathetic LaShania. I can be creative LaShania. I can be happy LaShania. You know, I don't have to be strong LaShania all the time, because I already know that's who I am, because that's who you have to be as a Black woman just living life in America. So to say on a personal level, I'm like, if someone were to say like, oh, are you a strong Black woman? I personally would say no, because that's not my, I know that I am, because we have to be, but that's not what I focus on. And I believe what you focus on grows. So I would rather focus on joy and love and all those other aspects of being a woman or being myself that I want to just kind of operate in now in this stage of my life.
Yeah. All right. I mean, that's a good answer. Faith, how you feel?
I feel like my friend is in my head a little bit. Because I had 3 points that I was thinking through. So I don't know if we necessarily have to, like, you don't aspire to be a strong Black woman. I think it's just how we have to show up most of the time. You know, the Black women got to save the vote. We got, like, I mean, there's so many things that fall inherently on our shoulders that we have to show up for, that I think that ends up putting us in this box of strong Black women. And you know, what's interesting is I find, at least social media has you thinking this right now, that because of the way that we end up having to show up a lot of times, that term is really under attack right now. Y'all not submissive enough. You don't listen. You're not pleasant. You know, all the things that they're saying right now about the independent, strong Black woman, right?
You don't need a man.
Right. You don't need a man, whatever. But I would say I'm kind of on the wave that Sean is on. I don't necessarily think about myself being the strong Black woman. I think if you get caught up in that, like you end up, I don't know, putting stuff on yourself that you don't necessarily even have to, right? So for me, it's, I just want to be Faith, right? Like authentically, there's some times when I'm independent or you know, I suppose what would be thought of as strong, and then there's some moments that I'm vulnerable and I need to be you know, have a soft place, and that's usually with my husband, right? Like that's where I show up with him, when he gives me a little bit of rest from how I have to show up in the world. But I don't know, that term is so, for women right now, I just feel like it's such a loaded title.
And you know what, Faith? I do love on social media that there's a little bit of pushback on strong Black women, and that now it's like the rich Black luxury TikTok and like, you know, soft Black women TikTok, where, you know, it's women focusing on self-care and Black women like having, you know, nice trips, and you can see them in leisure and doing like taking care of themselves. Like I love that that's kind of what's being presented kind of as the counter to being strong Black women, because I mean, I'm like, we already are. We don't have to really put the focus on being strong Black women. We are.
Versus and being a strong Black woman doesn't mean we're that bitter woman, or that, you know, oh well, she's a bitch, or she, you know, it doesn't mean that you're hard.
Absolutely.
And sometimes the terms are used synonymously, and that's we have to be hard. Like look, like LaShania Faith said, we've come into a place where we wear that hat automatically. We have to be strong. Some women had to be mom and dad. Some women had to be, you know, all the things to make her, she's automatically this strong Black woman because of the positions that, you know, we've been put in, we or our ancestor has been put in. And then it's sad that yes, now it's labeled that we're bitter, we're angry, and we're this and we're that. No, not all Black women are angry and bitter. We're probably tired. It's not anger, it's we're tired. We need a nap.
That's the end of having to carry that strong Black woman, you know, that banner for so long. At the end of the day, you're just tired. You're exhausted.
You know what? I'm gonna be the devil advocate on that one. Probably unpopular opinion. I was watching this show that's on Netflix called Press. I don't even know how I got wrapped up in that show. but it's a character. It's two Black women that are on that show, and one of them, it just irritates me to no end because she showed up on the show, and of course it's editing, right? So they made her out, I'm pretty sure, to be this, but she shows up like, oh, I'm this strong Black woman, I'm African, like her ethnicity, like she really going in. And then there's another scene. It's like she's feeding into all of these stereotypes that I think get put on us. And so now she's showing up that way. And then she gets mad a few shows later when they're referring to her that way. And she's like, that's not all I am. And so I'm like, I in that instance, I was looking at it like sometimes we gotta not, I guess, put those labels on ourselves or those expectations of what they think we're supposed to be. You know, like I feel like we get caught up in that. And sometimes you know, I've seen it show up in families and front. You think you gotta be so hard and it's hard to go, you know.
So I got a quick question for y'all. Just throwing that out what you just said, Faith. But who do you feel throw those labels at you? Do you feel that those labels are thrown at you more by women, more by men, more in the business place, more in the family place? Like, where does that label of being, you know, the difference between being strong and not putting up with people's BS, and the difference between being strong and you just are nasty? You know what I'm saying? To me, whenever, you know, and that's what I'm trying to say, the difference, because you can get put that label just because you don't put up with people's bull. You know what I'm saying? Or just because you're strong enough to know your worth. That's the other thing that I feel is misconfused, that is confused a lot, even with men, in Black men. It's like, don't be mad at me because I know my worth. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't want to value me where I should be valued, and I know I should be valued, now I'm an asshole. You know what I'm saying? Y'all get a different word, but for me, you know, now I'm an asshole because I know my value and I'm not going to let you put me in that box. So, but go ahead,
Faith.
No, go ahead, Faith. That was my question.
Oh, I was gonna say cover the spectrum on that, right? Like you show up at work and your response or how you communicate, if it comes out of your mouth, Rodney, it is perceived completely different than how it comes out of my mouth or how I show up. Even if down to the things you don't say, just interpersonally, the way you sit in a chair, the way you you know, show up with your presence. When I show up the same way, it's perceived completely different. When you're talking about a relationship, like you just said, your worth. If I have my standards in dating or in relationships, you know, that's perceived as it might be bougie, or it might be, you know, your standards are too high, right?
Yeah.
I think that's just more society, though. You know what I mean? That's just, you know what I mean? It's always been standards or double standards for men and women. That's just society. And then it's up to us whether or not you allow the societal standards to affect the way that you act and judge yourself. You know what I'm saying? Just like you can be an asshole all day if that's what you choose and not care what anybody thinks about you being the way you are, if that's the way you are choosing to be. But it's, you know, but in the real world, we definitely are affected about what others think about us and how we're perceived on a daily basis. But you know what I mean? Like it's still a choice whether or not you have to feel a certain type of way about how someone is thinking about you. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you? But we do have to live in society. You got to go to work. You know what I mean? You got to, you know what I mean, try to be part of the tribe and be a good player at certain times. So I definitely understand that. But yeah, I think we all have that judgment tied to us, men and women.
I think one of the things that I've learned over the years in being in corporate America, I'm in the IT field. So when I first started, it wasn't many Black women. Definitely wasn't many Black women at higher levels in leadership. And we had one or two that was labeled those angry Black women, right? And one in particular, I remember. And the way she presented herself, she constantly, when she was in a room, and I observed her, she presented herself like this pit bull in a skirt. Every meeting, and we was around the table with a bunch of white men, and she presented herself like a pit bull in a skirt. I mean, just nasty, right? And when we got outside of that, the office and she would talk to me, it was a whole nother different presentation. And one of the things I learned, and I couldn't stand her because I'm like, can't you get your point across without having to be this rah, rah, rah? Like you are sitting here being a poster child for this angry Black woman that we keep hearing about. And one of the things that I've learned over the years, especially recently, the past few years, with building myself as a brand, building myself with my husband in our business, and me in corporate America, still rising the ladder. You can, and I tell my husband this on a relationship standpoint as well. It's not always what you say. It's what you say, not how you say it. How you say it matters, right? I can tell you, like that don't look right. Or I can say, that really doesn't go, but I can still in corporate America get my point across, be confident and authoritative without coming across as a bitch or coming across as this angry Black woman. But I think, like someone said, society has put this thing over us. And I think it's up to us to show them, prove them wrong that, no, we are not all angry Black women. No, we are not all this. Yes, I can be in a position of authority. Yes, I can be in corporate America running things or running my own business without being angry or without being blah, 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 but also having authority. Being a leader doesn't mean that you're doing this all the time. You just have to know how to be a leader. A lot of it is how you talk to people, and you don't have to be angry when you're talking to someone to get your point across or to get something done. Because like with my staff, I can be angry with them talking to them, or I can come across in a different way and they'll do it just as easy and just as nice.
See, I think you got to have it's tough. I suppose I lend a little grace. And I remember early on in my career having conversations with colleagues about the same thing, where it's like they felt like they had to show up as a bitch to get some respect. That really it was tough for me to do that. So that never was my style. I don't think that was my authentic style to show up. But then you do have a balance, because it is times where simply the way that you communicate, or because you don't have that masculine energy, you feel like you got to boss up a little bit, like, oh, y'all think this is good, right? So now it's so tough though, because you have to balance it, and it's always perceptions that you're fighting against.
That's true.
And Rodney, to answer your earlier question about, like, you asked who puts that label, the strong Black woman label, on us, and a lot of times it's us. We put that label on ourselves in terms of, like, we're often taught by our mothers and our aunties and our grandmas that, oh, don't deal, if he comes in your face, don't deal with that girl. If he don't have no money, don't deal with him, girl. That kind of thing, right? And also in the workplace, Kendra, I guarantee you that whoever that lady that you were referencing, she probably had a mentor or someone that told her, that gave her the advice of, every time you go into a room, command the room. Demand respect. Don't take anything off of anyone. Make sure that comes across in your tone, right? So, and it may have been a Black woman, so I feel like a lot of times we put that label on ourselves because we've had to be strong, that we, out of love, make sure that the women around us, and especially women that are younger around us, that they are strong too, because then you're going to need that strength in the world and how you present in the world. But it's also, like Faith said, it's that balance of knowing that when to do that, when to show up in that way, and when to kind of be a little more authentically yourself.
Yeah, you got to get in tune with what is authentically yourself, because if you don't, man, it's exhausting. If you're sitting around trying to be something rather than just living your truth,
And I agree with that. I agree with that. We talked about that on the show too, as men, that trying to be something that you're not is way harder than just forget it. You got to love me for who I am. That's it, no matter what. Coach, did you have anything you want to add or questions?
I agree with what everybody's saying. I think it boils down to when society kind of painted the picture for Black women to kind of be. They were the ones that put it out there, and then we applied it to ourselves. You know what I mean, as a community. And then with the missing Black father, then they were forced to do it. You know what I mean? So it started off as society, and then it rolled into our families, right? And now it's amazing that we as a community, like what I characterize a strong Black woman as something completely different than what a Black woman may characterize it as, right? I mean, I may look at my wife at home being a strong Black woman because she's at home doing all the stuff that I can't do, you know what I mean? Doing all the, and then she's out in the workforce doing all this, being equal to everybody that doesn't count her as equal, right? So I think that it is twofold. I think what you guys are saying is great because right now, I think that Black women and Black men understand the situation. So Black men have identified that, hey, the Black women aren't going to be what our mothers were. Black women aren't going to be, you know what I mean, what our grandmothers were. These are our Black women, and they're strong whether they were in the home or whether they're out in the workforce, right? Because that's who they are, and they are women. So I think that, you know what I'm saying, that's one thing that we got moving forward. The whole you don't need a man thing, I think that whole transition is starting to transition back the opposite way, right? You know what I mean? Because Black women are starting to look and say, hey, you know what I mean? We do need our Black men. We do care about our Black men. And that's another way of being a strong Black woman, right? You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Ensuring that your man is taken care of. And it's the same strength that in a Black man, a strong Black man is looked at, ensuring that your woman is taken care of, right? You know what I mean? So we're the ones that actually will change what society thinks a strong Black woman is or isn't.
Well, to me, and like I said, I think it's like y'all said, it's a loaded statement because they want you to be to that you're that strong Black woman that you're considered the bitch at work. They want you to be the strong Black woman that you say I don't need a man. That's what they want. That's what they want. They want you to be those things where you're not. Where you're being. You feel like, oh, I gotta curse everybody out to get what I want. I got to do this to get what I want. I don't need no man. No man's good enough for me type situation because that's what they want you to do. But, it's just a conversation. Like I said, but I mean, we talked about this as us as men that they tell us, we can't do these things. These are the things they want us to be. They want us to be angry. They want us to go out there and slap the first person that says something disrespectful to us so we can go to jail. They want us to do these things, so that's the stuff they put out there. You know what I'm saying? Put out there for us to get that in our head as being cool, when reality is not. You know what I'm saying? We're more levels than that, and that's kind of like why what y'all definitely all hit on very things I was hoping y'all would discuss. So, but I'm gonna go on to the next question. So, the next question, we discussed this also on the show about self-care. Self-care and mental health is new to us as a society, in my opinion. It's new. Our parents were not talking to us about mental health. You know what I'm saying? Our grandparents damn sure wasn't talking to us about mental health. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just curious to you ladies what mental health looks like to you and what does self-care look like to you? Because these are all things that I'm using myself as a preference that going to see a therapist was frowned upon. Going to talk to somebody other than your pastor was the bad thing to do. If you got a mental health problem, keep it in and we'll pray for you. You know what I'm saying? And in my opinion, nothing's wrong with prayer. I've definitely been prayed for. I wouldn't be here without prayer. But, I was never allowed to really express myself. Even as a child, when you was being disciplined, you was told to shut up and just listen to what I told you to do. You know what I'm saying? You'd be like, Mom, the teacher's lying. I don't give a crap. You're supposed to do this, blah, 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 and nobody listened to you. So, that's something that we as people have been taught for years, and now I feel like now it's a huge thing. Now we're realizing that mental health is real. that self-care is real. Like mental what's the word I'm looking for? When you try to be mental stable, you're going through mental health. But anyway, you can go through something mentally that can be crippling. You can have mental disabilities. You can be, ADHD or even, multiple personalities or bipolar or, all these things are real because bipolar was not real. They definitely was praying for you if you had different, ups and downs, and it was not a real thing where you can go get help and So now my question to you ladies is, how new is the term mental health and self-care to you? And what does that look like for you? I'm gonna go ahead and start with Faith this time.
Let's see. So I'm just a couple things you said. One, I feel like growing up, even though we didn't have talks about therapy, like one, it wasn't even not even that it was frowned upon, but like who had resources to go to a therapist, right? Like your parents couldn't afford to go to talk to anybody, nor do I think we had the knowledge that we have now that those resources exist. But I will say my mother was a bit ahead of her time. She did believe in a mental health day. My dad would always give her shit because I would wake up, I was a very exceptional student, but like, I can't do it today. I need a day. And she'd be like, okay, you don't have to go to school.
God bless your soul. My mother would have shit me right on out.
So she was a proponent of a mental health day, which now is like built into the school system, right? Like my kids get
they're allowed to have 2 mental health days a semester.
You need them, right? Like, but those weren't valued or recognized as even a real thing back then, to your point, Rodney. I had some real lessons in mental health last year that really taught me that I needed to be better about prioritizing my well-being. I had some deals at work that went south, like didn't go well. And what I thought was normal behavior, I ended up having to, it really messed with my mental well-being about a couple of the deals that I lost. Now I won a couple, but we don't focus on those. We focus on the ones that are bad. And so anyway, I remember talking to the therapist, explaining, I kind of had a breakdown, like it was completely has shut me down for a moment. And I explained what my reaction to the loss was, the deal that went bad. And I was like, yeah, man, I was in the bed all day. I was damn near mourning. And I'm like, but it's normal. I was like, everybody around me was doing it too. Everybody else was in fetal position mourning too. And the therapist was like, that's not normal, right? Like your body just went through the process it would go through with grief or a trauma response. So even though everybody in your environment is reacting this way, all of you are having something that is affecting your mental well-being, and none of you are taken care of or responding to that trauma. And the body doesn't, it'll let you get by for a minute, and then eventually it shows up, right? So me, it's I'll get sick, or my productivity is impacted. So what I learned is I have to acknowledge it, right? Like the feelings, the physical stress that my body is going through, I have to acknowledge that this isn't something that's just made up in my mind. I really am going through something, and I have to acknowledge my mental well-being is just as much as I would recognize that I got a cough and I need to go to the doctor to get some medicine for that. So I've learned to get, to take some breaks in the day to find a way to pull back. And, my jam right now is to get in a book, get a good playlist going, and, just for a day, disconnect and read and hang out. But a year ago, like it took me a minute as I was going through that session. The question was, what do you do? What's your hobby? And I had nothing, like nothing. I could not answer that question. And it took me, I don't know, almost a year to figure out something that gave me a break where I could get a balance and have something to de-stress and release from. So I don't know. I haven't been the best about it. I'm trying to do better with my girls to teach them that it's just as important that they take care of their mental well-being. My twins are a little tough. They are unbothered. And so I don't realize that there's something going on. I have to probe and prod and have learned to just not assume that everything is okay. But it's a journey. I don't think I figured it out. Maybe you ladies will teach me something about it.
All right. LaShanya.
So to answer your question, I do think it's new. I think that's what you asked. Do we think that it's new? For sure, because I feel like, with having the knowledge that I have now about mental health, I can look back over my life and see like, oh, I was depressed right here. I didn't even have the language or the wherewithal to even know that I was going through a depression, or that, I really had some mental health issues during this time. I was just like, oh, you don't even know what you don't know.
Yeah.
That's like the best way that I can explain it. So now with being older and understanding that you have to kind of actively do things to make sure that you can kind of decompress, you can kind of take a step back. I make sure I really take the time to kind of put self-wellness and spiritual wellness, make those priorities in my day. So I do things. So I really had to figure out what it is that brings me joy and to do more of those things. Right. So that was part one was finding out what I enjoyed. So I found out that I really enjoy being in nature. So for me, doing that more looks like going on hikes, going to the beach when I can. I figured out I love that I have like this spiritual wellness support group circle of friends that I have out here on the West Coast that introduce me to things like, oh, you can do meditation. So like I didn't think I would. When I remember when my friend first like sent me some suggestions like, oh, you should do this meditation. I'm like, I'm not doing this. And now I love it. So I make sure, I get up like, I get up first thing in the morning and I do a guided meditation, not too long, maybe like 15 minutes. And then I loved it too so much that I do one now at night too. So I do my meditation in the morning, 15 minutes, another 15 minutes at night. And just to clear my mind and to focus on whatever I need to focus on. Is it calming or positive thoughts? So that's another thing that I do. And just music. So like playing my bass and listening to music that I love. So just making sure that my day is not only filled with my responsibilities, but it's also filled with little pockets of times that I like have something that I love, something that kind of gives me excitement, something that lights me up during the day. And that really helps with my mental health, and to really just like find joy in the little moments does wonders.
Excellent. I got you.
Yeah, so that's what it looks like for me.
There you go. Lady K Wellness. I saved you for last on purpose just to see what you had to say. Because I know live. If you haven't been on her Instagram, I've been following her. Even though she's my friend, I follow her secretly, stalking and just watching. She does these videos where she works out 15 minutes, showing this, showing that. And I ain't gonna lie, I did a couple just off of me just trying to do something one day. So, the Lady K Wellness, check it out if you haven't been following it. But go ahead.
Awesome. No, this topic really, I was like, oh God, yeah. Going back with mental health, one of the other things that I've noticed that you guys were saying, and it came to me also, was back in the day when you talked about mental health or you had to go to a therapist, it meant you were crazy. Something and it's so unfortunate that it's taken so long for us to realize that this is something that we need. Faith, I think you hit on it. I try to talk about that on my page as well, is, just as you go to the doctor and the dentist and your eye doctor, you need to go, I suggest you should go to a therapist or find some way or someone that you can talk to for your mental health. And that is one of the reasons I started my business a few years ago, and I'm still trying to grow it, because I used to run. That was my thing. I did marathons and half marathons. It was not for, I wanted to be small or that. I loved running. I loved traveling. So I'm like, okay, if I can go to a different state to run. So I started running just so I can go to a different state. I know, crazy. But it was what I love to do.
Sounds great to me.
And it's
Except for the running
morphed.
part. But go ahead. I apologize.
It's morphed now for me when it comes to my mental health and my self-care. I have a therapist that I see on a regular basis. It's virtual, but we constantly do check-ins. If I ever need to do an in-between, I sit and I'll text or whatever. I'm a very big proponent if that is, and I try to encourage, like I was telling my nieces, they were going through some things, and I'm like, check with your healthcare. Like, I didn't realize with my insurance that, I don't even have a copay for my therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Who knew? But I, call, check, whatever. I was going to go regardless if I had to pay out of pocket, but check with your resources. You never know what you can get. Check with your job. You never know what your job might provide. My agency, I work for the federal government. We get six therapy sessions a year or something like that. So very big on that. If that is a possibility for you, try to get, to seek some type of therapy just to talk through some things, because I know a lot of people. I remember Vicky said this to me once. She was like, "Oh, you got it all together and you're doing this and you're doing that." I was a complete train wreck mentally. Yeah, I had the business, I had this, I had that, and everything looked good on paper. Mentally, I was at home, like Faith said, fetal position, bawling my eyes out, divorced my husband 5 times that day alone, wanted to send my child away. I mean, I was a wreck. Like, everything on paper looked great, but mentally, nutcase. Overthinking. I had a whole bunch going on. Started meditation, like LaShanya said. Started incorporating some of these things in my day. And when you said self-care, I started about a year or so ago doing do nothing days, which is just that. I don't do anything. Or I do what I want to do. Meaning, if I just want to lay in bed and watch Hallmark Channel all day, I let my husband know, hey, this is my do nothing day. I'm not cooking. I'm not cleaning. I'm not washing anything. I'm not even going to answer the door for the Amazon package. I ain't doing nothing. If I want to drink wine, eat popcorn, whatever it is, it's my do nothing day. I stay in the house. Or sometimes I'll do my do nothing day outside the house. I'll do a pampering day where, nails, hair, whatever. And it's not just the working out, which that helps too a lot with my mental. And then this year in 2024, I'm actually taking my self-care to another level. I also do quarterly massages. And this year, 2024, I'm adding a solo trip. So I'm going to start incorporating a yearly solo trip. So I think I'm going to the DR. I don't know where I'm going yet. I got a few that I'm pinpointing, but I'm gonna nail it down. But I'm gonna do a solo trip, and it might be a weekend, it might be a week, but I'm incorporating that into just having some me time, having some alone time, some time to meditate, some time to sit in my thoughts, some time to connect and talk with God, or eat well, do whatever, but not have to worry about anybody else, but just me. So I love self-care. I encourage it, even if it's only for a few hours or a few minutes out of a day or out of the week. As women, if you're a mom or business you're doing, you need to take that time for yourself, because you cannot pour from an empty cup. You just can't, So, and I saw this clip with I don't know if it was Ilana Van Zandt or it was somebody, I can't remember who it was talking to Oprah, and basically she said, when I pour into my cup, what's in the cup is for me. What's in the saucer, whatever comes out of it, that's for you. And a lot of people think that, having self-care, and women especially, self-care is selfish, and it's not. It's selfless. You have to care about yourself first, because you will not be able to be the wife, the mom, the anything to anybody else if you're not taken care of mentally, physically. And it's all connected, whether we want to believe it or not. If our mental isn't right, it's going to affect our health overall. I think Faith touched on that, how our body shuts down and gets sick. Mine does too. I'll get a cold. I'll get sick. Gut issues, migraines. It's all connected. And if we don't take the time out, it's going to shut us down. I remember and I'll get off my soapbox. One of the most powerful thing my therapist told me recently, because I was having an overthinking moment, and she was like, you are trying to, how did she put this? Basically, she was telling me that, all the working out that I'm doing, all the eating healthy and all that stuff I'm doing is great, but I'm killing myself faster from stressing. Like, I can work out all day long. I can eat, be a vegetarian, vegan, all of that. I am killing myself faster because I'm stressing my body out. I'm stressing out mentally. And it really was a wake-up call. It's like, okay, I got all these other areas in my life together, but my mental was all over the place. All over the place. Overthinking, stressing, trying to be everything to everyone. How can I fit more into my day? How can I do this for my parents are aging, so now I'm taking care of them. How can I? It was just too much.
Yeah. One other point I want to add is Rodney said at the beginning where it was like back in the day, it was just like pray about it. The thing that I don't think a lot of people realize enough is you can have Jesus and a therapist. Like,
yes. I
like,
go to church every Sunday
and for
all
me,
day.
Listen, and for me, I get blessed in that every time I've had or these relationships where it is a therapy or I'll give you an example. I had an executive coach. We were working through some things, which is like your work therapist, right? We're working through some things that I'm dealing with at work, and I get to the end of the session, and the ladies and this is someone who's not this wasn't a Christian therapist. We get to the end of the session, and she's like, "All right, you ready to pray?" And I'm like blown away. Like, how did you even know that I would be okay with this prayer? I have mentors at work. Had no idea, or there's not like a church relationship. But when I show up for sessions or if we're having conversations, we're praying. The breakdown that I talked about earlier, the therapist that I was talking to, I think we ended up talking about church and the services that she began to share some services with me to watch that were speaking to the things that we were talking about in the therapy session. So it's definitely doesn't have to be a separation. I think God acknowledges all parts of our bodies, right? So he cares about our minds and our hearts, same as we might pray for our money and whatever else it is we're praying about.
Well, I want to say this real quick. Probably the reason why they knew that you should pray is because your name is Faith.
Maybe that don't mean anything,
It means to me. That's what I would have thought. I'm just saying it. Faith lets you know you grew up in the church.
You know how many devils go to church?
I hear you. I got you. I'm just saying. If Faith came into my office and we had I'd pray then too, because I feel like you might be helping me with something just because your name Faith. I'd pray with you too. I'm just giving my opinion. That's all.
However, whatever it is, it's showing up. So
it worked.
Yeah, it worked.
I ain't mad at it.
Yeah, I got it. Hey, somebody had faith to name you Faith. That's the way I look at it. So it's all good. Hey, fellas, did y'all have anything to add about what they had to say?
Nah, I mean, I think it falls in line, similar to what men deal with as well. I do got a question though. Do the ladies feel more stress from a home environment or a work environment? Like, do you think the majority of your stress or your mental health strain is at home or at work?
I think both, but I think on a consistent basis, I think my house has to be my peace. That don't mean that stuff doesn't happen at home, right? Your kids act a fool. If you're married or in a relationship, that shit is gonna go ebb and flow from time to time. But just by and large, I think my home has to kind of be a soft place for me versus, once you hit them doors, it's stress all over the place.
Right.
I'm the opposite right now. It's getting better, but I've gotten to the point where there are times where I work from home, but I go to work just to get away from home.
Been there.
Driving me crazy. It's been tough, I would say, lately with my marriage because we have a business together. And so we are working through being husband and wife, turning that switch off and being business partners, and vice versa. And it's a challenge. We haven't quite figured out. We don't have it down yet. So it sometimes we could be dealing with personal and we talking to each other like business partners. And so it's like, wait a minute. Light switch. Okay, switch. All right, now we're husband and wife. Now we gotta love on each other. It's not a negotiation, or we're not getting our calendar. So it's a balance. We have to find that balance. So right now, home is stressful. More so, I would say, than work right now. But we're finding it. We're finding it.
Okay. LaShanya?
Oh, you want me to answer this?
Maybe.
You know I'm single and childless.
Hey, your dog.
My home is
your
amazing.
dog
I
might be-
have zero stress at my house.
Listen, you know they say the
My
single
wine is
childless
popcorn.
women are the happiest.
Amen.
So all of my stress.
Hold on. I'm
Enjoy.
sorry. I don't want you
Enjoy,
to
baby.
give Kendra and Faith any ideas. So,
Right?
so your
Right.
home is
I'm not even
terrible.
speculating
You know
on
what?
that.
Your
I'm not
home
even
is
speculating.
terrible.
That's scientifically proven through research that the single
Yeah.
childless women are the happiest.
So I have zero stress in my home life. But I will say to that, the other side of that coin is, if you are actively dating, it's trash. It's nothing in these streets but audacity. So I'd rather go home to happy.
Well, and we're
back to my
we're
home life.
kind of girls, so I know she'd be and I'm gonna pick my you know, she has the, I guess, control over her schedule and all the things,
Yeah,
right,
yep.
that bring joy. But I think I'm gonna pick my situation all day with my life partner that, you know, I'm happy and joy filled, you know, on a consistent basis, right? Of course, it's hard work, but
Great
Okay.
answer.
Yeah, I tell all my married friends, do not. No, you don't. Don't switch. You don't want to switch places with me. Absolutely not. I keep it real. Yeah, no.
I think you just got to be happy.
These
and
streets crazy out here.
pick which one is bringing you peace.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Which
Yeah.
piece do you want?
Kurt,
I
Maddie
love
Ice, did
that.
you have anything to add? You good?
No, I'm good. I think they covered it pretty well.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to say this because self-care is new to me and listening to some of the things that y'all do. But I mean, like Vicky is the same. Vicky, you know, I'll send her out. She can go do a massage. She can do whatever she want to do. But it's still new to even her too, because figuring out what it is you want that makes you happy
Yeah.
is tough because you live so much of your life doing what you got to do. You gotta do this. I gotta do this. I gotta go to work. I gotta pay these car notes. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. And then when you get to a point in your life where you go, well, what do I want to do? You're like, well, shit, I don't know. I don't even know what I can do. Like, what's out here? Like, and I tell my kids all the time, like, traveling, man, this world is huge.
Yeah.
Like, yo, staying here and I like what Vance talked about this last week. Coach talked about this last week is he's getting to the point where his kids are old enough that now, instead of buying them Christmas gift, he wants to start memories. And when he said that to me, that stuck with me. It was like, I want to take them to a place they never seen. I want to do things with them they've never done. Like, I want to create memories. And to me, I feel like that is something as a culture we don't do. Like, we don't focus on those, and those little things can be very impactful to our kids. Like, my kids ain't seen outside of PG County. But that's only because I don't want to travel with them. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, like I don't want to travel with them. I want to enjoy when I
Get
go
my God,
travel.
babies.
When I go travel, the last thing I want to do is see these huggers. That's all I gotta say. That's the last
Well,
thing I
do a
want to
balance. Do one trip with them
yeah.
and one trip with yourself.
Yep.
No, and I got,
Yep.
but no,
Well,
I'm
Vicky.
traveling. So they have seen outside of PG because I'm traveling with Jonathan and with him running track. Like, we're going to Houston this year. We've been from Florida to up and down Trinity, but I send them on trips. Like, you know, I'll send them, like, go. Just like my oldest son went to stay with LaShanya out in California and talked to me about LaShanya like I didn't know her. He was like, yo, she's fantastic. This was the greatest week of my life, yo. You know what I'm saying? So, I do that. I'm not out here buying cars, but, I go out there, they have fun. They do what they're going to do. But I encourage them to travel. My daughter's going to New Mexico for a missions trip. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
I do all these things. But yeah, so that's all I was just wanted to say about
So,
that.
Rodney, you know what?
Go ahead.
Real quick, I have a question for the fellas. So, what does self-care look like for men?
I was gonna ask
So
that.
hold on, let me say my question too while they answer yours. Because see, I feel like it's easier for them to and I might be wrong, but
It is.
examples. My
No, it
husband
is.
golfs, right? Like it's nothing
Okay.
for him to get in 18 holes, and I feel like that's his his to keep him balanced and mental health. Y'all work out, y'all go watch football, y'all might get with your like. I feel like we don't get as many of those outlets, or we have to be more intentional about getting them than they
Then
come.
guys
I feel like those come to y'all.
You gotta be more
Hey, I'll let y'all
intentional.
go, Coach Matty Ice. Y'all talk about what it is, and then y'all
was
feel
about to
this, and
say-
I'll talk about mine because I know I'm gonna say it is. For me, it's freaking easy. I got it.
I'm about to
Go
say
ahead.
we might be easier, like you said, like we go hang out with the boys at outlets, but that's by choice. Like your outlet could be just as easy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you could find something to go do. Like you said, go get a massage. Like, what do you like to do? Like you said, you didn't have no hobbies. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just up to somebody. Like, all men don't
Faith
have
hobby
boys
is
that they can
planning
go.
out her week of work. That's
No,
her
I'm just
hobby.
saying.
She wants to make sure
It ain't
that
like-
her week goes easier, so she'll spend her day off planning how to work easier.
That's just good work ethic, right?
Well, I'm just saying
No, it
that's
ain't.
that's
No, it
choice.
ain't.
You
I
know
don't
what I
pick
mean?
up
It
a
ain't like
goddamn thing
some
until
men don't
Monday.
have busy work schedules. So that's all I'm saying. It can go hand in hand. Like, all men don't have boys who they go hang out with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It sounds like it. That's the typical thing. We watch football or whatever, but sometimes to de-stress, I don't do a lot of stuff, man. I don't go out too much anymore. For me to de-stress, man, I
Matty
hop
Ice
on.
watches his Bitcoin report.
Nah,
He
only
want to
thing I
see
use,
how much
really,
his Bitcoin went up that day, and it de-stresses him. Go ahead. I'm
that
sorry.
don't, yeah, if it goes up, but when business and things going down, it stresses me out. You know what I'm saying? So that's not an escape for me. You know what I mean? Only time I can probably escape, I hop on my bike. Like when it was hot outside, I go for a ride on my bike, man. I ride by myself. I go from here and ride down the Point Lookout by myself. Like, I get away. You know what I'm saying? That's how I do it. Like, I go riding or something like that. But other than that,
I think you're right. We do have to be intentional about doing it, but I think it just comes.
Yeah.
Y'all, I just feel like y'all have an expectation that you're going to prioritize this versus I feel like we feel a guilt and
It's guilt.
I think
Yeah.
I think
Hey,
it all
but
depends on
guilt
the
is that's like you said, that's self. Like, you feel guilty. You don't have to feel
Yeah,
guilty.
there you go.
Like, that's all I'm like.
Hold on.
You don't have to.
Say it again, sir. Say it again for the people in the back.
You don't have to feel guilty. Like, that's self. You know what I mean? Bringing that on yourself. I'm not sure somebody around you making you feel guilty, but that's something, like you sound like you feel guilty if you do something for yourself. And maybe that's, like, again, going back to the mental health thing. Like, you shouldn't feel
Or
guilty.
back to that strong woman.
You know what I mean? To do
Absolutely.
something.
Or back to the
Absolutely.
strong woman
Yeah.
thing. But go ahead.
And I'm not
The
arguing that
expectation
you're
for us to
wrong.
handle everything.
Yeah, I think you're right. But I inherently think that's just something that we as women take on. I feel like
Absolutely.
Michelle Obama said that when she was talking about Barack when they had their 10 years of when the kids were little. She was like, he would just get up and go to the gym. And she's like, well, why did you feel entitled to go to the gym? Like, why can't but and nobody made her not go to the gym. It's just
Right.
there's a certain level
We feel,
of
yeah.
self-implied.
Yeah, I can understand
Yeah,
that. You know,
for sure. For sure.
Vance?
I mean, as far as what I do mentally, I cycle. So when I got into cycling, there are days where I'm literally out there just joyriding, enjoying the weather.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And it's just mind clearing. Now there are days where it's actually exercise, right? But even on I look at it like this: even on the days where I'm just enjoying the weather, I'm still exercising. So I'm killing two birds with one stone. But at the same time, I cycle a lot by myself too. So when I'm cycling by myself, like I literally can run through everything I can literally not think about nothing, or I can plan out everything while I'm cycling, or I can just sit back and enjoy the weather. One or two. I took up cycling during COVID, of course. A lot of that was, because we were teleworking as a federal government for the most part. And it was to get out of the house to clear my head, because that was really my only outlet, right? I am a homebody to begin with. So, my wife is excellent at, self-care, mental health, going out by herself, going out with her friends. I am more of a loner. Like, I probably can, like Rodney said, Rodney been my best friend since full, and he might call me 14 times a week. I'm probably gonna call him once, right? And honestly, even in the 14 times, he knows that the conversation probably ain't gonna last longer than 8 minutes, 9 minutes max, unless he's stressing about something or I'm stressing about something.
Oh, it's usually I'm calling,
yeah. But I'm a loner, so but I did have to become intentional about it. So much so that I'll be straight up with you. I give you a prime example, and I still deal with this. I took a trip on Christmas Eve. I was not going to take the trip because I was more worried about, of course, missing Christmas with my kids. But even if it wasn't Christmas, I probably wouldn't have took the trip if my wife didn't push me to take the trip. Like, my wife recognizes that I need that mental break, or I need that separation. And she actually pushes me towards those things. So when she sees that I want to do something and I'm questioning it, and she knows that I'm questioning it because I don't want the household to fall, or something. I need to be here for the household, right? Not that it would fall if I was gone, but she always reassures me that, hey, it's okay for you to take a trip somewhere by yourself. Now, I'm not going to let you go to a couple different locations in this world, she says. And I think, ladies, you guys know the different locations that a married man probably shouldn't go. But, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to DR. You ain't going to Costa Rica. You know what I'm saying? But you can go to Florida. You can go wherever else. But she pushes me to those things. And I'm thankful for that. You know what I mean? Because myself, I wouldn't be intentional. I'd be just like you guys. And literally just keep working and keep stressing and just move on.
I would say this. I had to, a few years ago, I had to push my husband because, like I said, I was traveling, I'll go with my girls, go whatever. And I remember him was like, yeah, me and G, we want to go out. I don't know. We want to go do a cruise. They had never did anything like that before. And he was like, I don't know. And I'm like, the mortgage is paid, the car notes are paid. What you waiting for? What you need me to pack? And I would never forget Vicky asked, she was like, you don't mind that, Roger going out? I will pack for him. Where do you want to go? Let's go. But I encouraged him, like, yeah, go. Like, and they did a cruise, and now it's like a regular thing. They'll go, him and his boys, they'll go and travel. I love that. And I'm like, go. Like, because honestly, it's a two-way street for me, because when he goes, I get a break too.
Like,
he about to go on a little mini vacation.
I knew that was coming up too. I was waiting to ask that question.
He's about to go on a mini vacation.
Like,
so
you want to go somewhere? Go ahead and go.
Yes, I'm like, you need me to take you to the airport when you coming back? Like, yeah, absolutely. But I've coached. I've had to push. It was some years ago, but I had to push him to be like, go. Like, if our bills are paid, we're good. We got food in the fridge. We are not going to work ourselves to death and not be able to enjoy life. No, I refuse.
I hear that.
All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and say I wish, unfortunately, the first lady of Dad Mentality has come into the building. Y'all can't see her in the shop, but she's sitting right here. But I'm still gonna say what I got to say. So the question is, what it looks like to you as men. So I'm gonna be honest with you, with all y'all, for one or two things. So, and me and Vicky have discussed this, so it's all good. But one, when I want to escape, I go to Sadie. Sadie is my Xbox. She's faithful. Every time I cut her on, she's happy and turned on and ready to go. You know what I'm saying? That is my girl, Sadie. When Vicky start acting up, I'm like, I'm going down there and talk to Sadie. Sadie love me. We hop on up, play my games, whatever the case may be. I'm still in my house. I'm not at the bar. I'm not doing that. Me and Sadie hanging out, and we have a good time. So, but I mean, there was more dangerous stuff. Even when Kendra brought up the motorcycle stuff like that, I realize now that when I was riding the bike and doing all that kind of stuff, I was going through depression. That was like my mom had, before my mom, I think it was right before whatever case, my mom had passed away, but I was going through a lot of stuff. And I was doing actually dangerous things. And I realized after a while, I sold my bikes and got off of it. And that's when Kendra was like, I still want the bike, but I can't ride it here. I'm not doing it here anymore. But, you know what I'm saying? But, I was doing stuff because I was, and y'all brought it up. I didn't know I was depressed. I talk about this show about a lot of things I didn't know. One thing that made me start the show is I didn't know I had abandonment issues. I had no idea. And I took it out on my wife every time she left the house for more than a day. Every time. And I didn't do it on purpose. I didn't understand why I was doing what I was doing. I had no clue. And I talked about this show all the time, and it's the same thing with y'all ladies. You gotta realize what your issues are before you can help them. But sometimes you don't realize these are deep rooted. Like these issues are deep. And the crazy thing was, once I opened that up, other stuff started floating out of it, and I was like, hold on, I don't like this. I don't like that I do that. I don't like that I don't like that I submerge my issues in alcohol. One of the biggest things for me, I drink a lot. I can drink a lot and still maintain a day, but I don't want it to be my crutch. You know what I'm saying? I do enjoy going out, hanging out with my friends and having a drink, but I don't want it to be my crutch to get through the day or get through that night or get through that week or whatever the case may be. So, and that's why I kind of started the show. This show is completely selfish. I started this show to help me. I'm not, I'm hoping that I help others during the time, but it's really just to help me. And even everything that we're talking about, even listening to y'all, is to help me understand my wife on issues. But I do want to say this. As a husband of 23 years, I've told Vicky to be selfish so many times.
Wow.
I'm like, yo, just leave. Go. And she's like, well, the kids, they'll live. If they can't figure it out, and I understand, you leaving it with me. You might be concerned. I get it. I get it. But in reality, so what? What's the worst that's going to happen? You know what I'm saying? I always tell her, they'll be alive when you come back. That's all that matters. So, and but it takes time, even for y'all, you as a woman, we go back to that strong Black woman thing. You know what I'm saying? You can't be strong for everyone. You have to. Because if you're not taking care of yourself, what you think is being strong is not it. It's not it. You're actually pouring nothing. Now you're going to start being angry. You're going to start crumbling. Your self is going to crumble. And you got to really learn that these things are just set up to make us fail.
Ronnie, I'll give you an example. I think I did something similar to what you did. The first few years of marriage for me and Brandon was pretty hard. Normally we started with twins, right? And both of us trying to figure out, we were both getting our masters, all the things. And I watched this show. It's on Showtime, Couples Therapy. I don't know if y'all have seen it before, but it's a pretty dope show. You get to watch these couples go through their therapy sessions. And there was a couple on there. There's a Black couple. And the wife was pissed at the husband because she was, they both were in the arts. And so she was in a phase of doing a show, and it was requiring her to work 12, 16 hours out the day. He had a similar type of flow where it might be a season he works that way, but it was her season that she was working that way. And he asked her a simple question, something like, where are the clothes, or he needed some information for the kids for the next day. He was like, because you're going to be gone for 16 hours. And she's in this therapy session going off oh my God, another thing that I need to do. And I was like, the therapist asked the question I had, Like, what did you just hear? Because he just asked you for one thing for tomorrow and said, because you're going to be gone for 16 hours. And she put on top of that he said that she is always gone. He always is asking me these things to do. It was so loaded. And I looked at that and I went, oh my God, that's what I did. Our first few years, he would ask me a simple question. If going into that marriage, I had, if you would ask me what kind of wife I was going to be, it was, oh, I'm a cook all day. We're going to have all our meals. I'm going to have all the kids' clothes together. And I'm going to go to work and I'm going to be a boss. And I'm all these expectations of myself that nobody told me I had to do. He didn't even tell me I had to do it. But I had those expectations for myself. And when I couldn't do all of them, I took it out on him. And he's asking me like, hey, can you do one little simple thing for me tomorrow? And I'm like, another goddamn thing. Like, God, why you? But
you preaching over here. Hold on. I'm sorry. You preaching. Jesus, okay. I'm letting y'all know I've already clicked on 6 sound bites tomorrow's reels, for real.
Yeah.
All of y'all have said so much things that I'm excited about.
But it's self-awareness though.
Hey, yo,
it's self-awareness, like that she was aware that she at some point that she was doing that. Like a lot of people never become aware, you know what I'm saying, that they're doing that, you know what I mean? And that's so
yeah. I mean, I think we talk about each other's expectations in a relationship, but I don't think anybody ever said go into that, be aware of yourself, how you want to show up, what's your expectation. And then what we end up doing is judging ourselves because they go into the gym and we do
feeling guilty.
Right, feeling guilty, feeling all this mom guilt because I'm not doing all these things that nobody said I had to do. It wasn't until I saw it in somebody else that I could see, oh my God, that's exactly what I did. She is tripping over there, and that's exactly what I was.
Wow, you saw yourself in that, yeah,
because I had the same. I was like, what did she just hear him say? And that is exactly what I would be like. He asked me one thing, and I'm like, oh my God, you just said 17. He didn't say all that. He just asked me one thing, but it was because I had all this guilt and expectations that was breaking me down. That only I could release myself from. And I mean, obviously that's in a marriage, you work through it, but I think we do those things and put those expectations on ourselves and then look for our partners to kind of know that we're going through all of that crazy in our head.
Yeah, I agree. I've done that, you know what I'm saying, myself sometimes, you know what I mean, dealing with certain things in my household, you know what I mean, you know, different Ronnie, you know, my wife deals with, you know, health challenge, so a lot of stuff in the household falls on me, you know what I mean, on a daily basis. I, you know what I mean, gotta go out, do different things, but then I still come home, you know what I mean, cook and do everything, you know what I mean, for my wife or whatever. So sometimes I'll get frustrated and I'll find myself getting frustrated with my son or the kids because they ask me something and I feel like I just don't want not one more thing to be asked of me right now. You know what I'm saying? Can't you figure that shit out on your own? Don't ask me nothing. You know what I mean? I find myself getting like that, but then I gotta back up for a minute and be like, hold up. You know what I mean? And I know that I'm being snappy and short when it's not really them. You know what I'm saying? For real is me, because I'm, like you said, you got this expectation of what everybody expects you to do. You know what I'm saying? Because I get frustrated and be like, man, I was gone all day, whatever. I come in the house and be like, y'all ain't fixed nothing for dinner yet. Mommy ain't eat yet. What? Are we waiting for you? What you mean you waiting for me? You know what I'm saying? Hey,
do something.
Could have ordered something or done something. You know what I'm saying? But then I'd be like, well, this is what they are used to. So you know what I mean? I gotta do something or correct it and give them another plan so they not expecting me to do it. You know what I mean? So I definitely,
and part of that goes back to communication too, Maddie Ice, because me and my husband just went through that where that expectation that, okay, why I'm home, I work from home, but why didn't you cook? But yet while I'm at home, I got my day job, my business, I'm trying to post content, I'm working out with a client, and then I'm not thinking about cooking dinner, but it's just a simple, hey, I didn't get a chance to cook. Could you pick something up? But I didn't do that. So it's
Mhm.
like, how he supposed to know food ain't here?
Yeah,
But we have to
exactly.
work on that communication. And it's like he get mad or I get mad, but neither one of us said anything.
Yeah,
We didn't say. We
exactly.
just
That's the truth,
expected.
though.
Yeah.
90% of issues come from the lack of communication or assuming that
Mhm.
of someone. You know what I mean? Like you already
Mhm.
know what that person is going
Nobody's
to
a
think.
mind
You already
reader.
know what they was going
Yep.
to. You know what they were going to say, so you didn't communicate because you already had an assumption. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Or you didn't. You might didn't want to. Or you didn't want to hear the answer that you thought they was going to give you, so you chose not to communicate. So yeah.
Guilty again.
So the biggest thing I want to say about relationships,
Biggie?
and one of the things that we talk about and I talk about in my house, and Vicky, me, when we went to that marriage night, is sometimes you got to give your partner a win. You can't just you gotta get into the mode where you just gotta give them let them win one sometimes. But anyway, that's more personal than what y'all dealing with. But I'm just saying that myself, because the lady is listening, so hopefully she understands that. But anyway, we're going. Hey, look, this is what I'm gonna do, ladies. I'm telling you, what we've said is gold. We only went through half the questions, and I still
Wow.
feel like there's so much more we can get into. I want to invite y'all for next season. I'm already going. Hopefully, season opener next year. We'll join us and do part 2 of this. Y'all are phenomenal. I want to thank y'all for joining us here at Dad Mentality. You know what? I always dream these things. Well, I don't dream. First of all, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna give glory to God. God has made me do this podcast. If y'all all know me for years. If I had told you I was doing a podcast when y'all met me, y'all would have laughed my ass off this shit. You would be like, what the? You're like, you'll get out of here. But I mean, you know what? When I dream these things up and
We didn't
God
even know what
leads me,
podcast was when we met you.
yeah,
Right?
exactly. So when when
1990.
when these things happen, and I have what I consider, this lets me know that what I'm doing is correct. It really makes me happy. So, but we can't do this for 3 hours. I feel like we got so much more. We just scratched the surface, and I want to do this. Have these conversations again more, but we got it. We got it eventually in the show. So I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna move into our extracurricular activity topics. Thank you all again for joining me. Thank you for your candidness and honesty. Um, I know that this stuff really does hit through the airways with people. I get emails, this, that, and the other. We do actually have a ton of female listeners, which I'm so happy about. But I just felt like this conversation helped everyone. If you're a man, even hearing y'all say the same things that we go through with our wives or significant other or even our sister. You know what I'm saying? Like mental health is very important to everyone. And I feel like us as a culture is new, and we're all learning it together. And some things, and like Kendra said, and even Faith saying, I didn't even know what made me happy. I spent so much of my time doing what I had to do that I didn't even know. When somebody say do something you want to do, you're like, well, what the hell is that? You know what I'm saying? I don't even know what that is. So, I just want to, like I said, thank you. Give you all your flowers. I appreciate y'all for joining me. Because I'm sure when I sent y'all the text message, all y'all probably looked at it and was like, I don't know. Here go this crazy. What is he going to join and put us into? But,
Not
join
true.
me. Not true?
Not true.
All
I'm
right,
sure
well,
they replied as quickly as I did. Like, whatever you need, we got you.
LaShanya put me on unread. So,
What? That's not
after the
even a
first
thing. What you mean?
I'm just messing around, but nah, it's all good. It's all fun. So we're gonna get into the extracurricular conversation, and then we got to do our terrible playoff picks, which we're gonna let the ladies make the picks, and whatever it is what it is. So hopefully we actually win. If we win with y'all, then I gotta bring y'all back because we've been doing it all season and haven't won once. So
What?
don't act like don't do it like that, LaShanya. I mean, hey,
I'm
what do you
shocked.
need?
I'm shocked. I
Yeah.
thought it would be a better success rate over
do?
here with y'all.
All
What's
right.
going on?
All right,
Not with
It's
these
rigged.
parlays, man.
I'll
Not with
tell
these
you why. You want to
parlays.
hear right? Hold on. This is why.
I pity myself that I gotta be with these fools.
That's
Nah.
why. That's why right there. That's why right there. Because they always hit me with something. I'm like, yo, what do you mean? No, there's absolutely not. Except for Vance got one right. Even though he missed the first two that we had already lost. That's why I was asleep. But then he got Jordan Love, so I got to give him his credit.
Yeah.
But you know, anyway. But
well, no, I take that back. I'm about to say it was that Texans game, but other than that, we would have been looking good.
We'd have been straight.
Yeah, it was the Texans game.
I actually
It's
called
the
the
first
Texans
game.
to win. I knew they were going to win
Yeah.
that game against
oh,
the
that was
Browns.
the one where you had my pick, so therefore I knew that the Texans were going to win that game because I believe
ain't
you
picked the
had my
Texans.
pick that week. No,
Ain't
that
nobody
was the
picked
week
the
that I
Texans.
gave my pick to LaShanya. I remember that week, and she was 100% right.
Now we talking about last week.
Oh, all right. Well, anyway, I don't know who picked that. We're gonna go ahead and but now I want to get into this. So it's a it's a show on Hulu. It's called Another Black Girl. Vicky has watched this show. And I'm just gonna bring a topic. I know I'm gonna give you the mic when it's ready. Okay, baby, you ain't gotta make hand gestures at me. Anyway, say nah, I'm just playing. But anyway, so I'm gonna just show the trailer of the show, and then I got a question for y'all ladies, and I know Vicky probably want to jump in. I'll let her run that part, and then we'll do our playoffs. So okay, let's watch the trailer. If no, you haven't watched it, then I'll ask my question.
Wagner Books. Hello, yes. Nella? Will you get me another coffee? Nella! Will you get Advil for me? Nella? Nella, you copy. Nella? I need you to get Nella! Nella!
For someone you have to meet. This is Hazel May McCall, my new assistant.
Really? Hi. It's just really nice that you're here.
Right back at you. You know that hall of white people they have here?
Welcome to Wagner.
Wagner's just... You'll see. I am ready to recommend your promotion to assistant editor.
I lit so many intention candles for this. What the?
You were bold and you have a lot of potential.
Something really strange happened.
I told you that company was a hellhole.
I'd feel sorry for anyone who was unfortunate enough to be in our way.
Did you come to my apartment last night?
What are you talking about?
I feel like I'm completely losing my mind. Hazel?
Hazel. Girl, I told you.
Have you noticed Nella acting weird lately? She just seemed a bit off.
This has been driving me crazy.
Crazy.
I know that this sounds like a conspiracy theory.
Yeah, but every conspiracy about white people being whack ends up being true in like 20 years.
All right, so I know that each one of you ladies are very successful businesswomen and have worked in corporate environments, things like that. Y'all all are I know all of y'all are top of your class and things like that. So my question to you is, when you first got in, so we're going to talk about when you first got into your job, not now, because of course y'all are probably the person that's hiring these other black women and things like that. But when you first got into the job, and for me personally, so I'm gonna start with me because I always like to do that. I'm in sales. I work for a group that at one point in time when I first started out, there was only 2 black people in my department. That was it. And when we saw each other, we was sized. And he put me on game. We helped each other. And then he ended up getting terminated, leaving me by myself. And even when he got terminated, he brought me the company shirts, all the stuff he won and things like that. And we always had a great relationship. Now, of course, we have quite a few of brown, not black, but brown people in my company, in my position. But when you first started and you met that other black person, whether they came later or you was the first one, you tell me the story. And how was it a good experience, bad experience? And do you think that when we come together that it is like that? You have to you instantly get excited when you see another black person in your company. So Vicky's going to go first because we're going to let the first lady of Dad Mentality go ahead and discuss how she felt when she watched this series, because we watched the whole thing together, and then y'all ladies go after that. So hold on. There you go. I got to get up. Hold on. Right. Maybe we should do this before.
That's what she in that commander chair.
Vicky should have went first.
They sell Commander stuff. You can actually buy Commanders.
Shut up, Sean. You know you
Shots fired.
Can't hear you.
Yo, did you mute yourself? Did you mute it?
Oh, did I mute it?
Yes, you muted it.
So y'all
Yeah,
we good now.
There we go.
You know.
Down on Can't say nothing. What's up, Vicky?
Can you hear me?
What's up? How you doing?
Big.
What's up? I heard you had a really great conversation. I can't wait to. I gotta stay on task. Okay, all right. So, watching this movie, I was pretty lost up until like the last 4 episodes. Then I was like, oh my God. I was reflecting back on my experience at my job because I felt like I was the diversity hire going into my current job because there was only 4 of us. And literally when I walked down the hall, that's what you saw, them following me, the other black women following me like, oh my God, there's another one. And I was like, gosh, like for real, was I really the diversity hire? But after watching this movie, you were able to track the micro and the microaggressions that have gone on. Well, you see them throughout the movie, but you really kind of pick up on the whole perspective of the movie after it gets to like the final couple episodes. And like Rodney said, anybody else had an experience like that, like where you felt like, going into your organization, like you were glad to see another black person? Has anyone ever had that experience? LaShawn, not LaShanya. Kendra. Yeah, Kendra.
Yeah, I would say where I'm at now. I do want to say I reflect back when we were at Mason.
Oh.
I remember when we saw black people, we were like, "Hey!" We were like waving, real intentional, and they would be like, "Oh." But in my agency now, I honestly, in my branch, I'm actually the only black female. There's one other black person, black male, and it is about 50 of us, and we're the only 2 black people.
Wow.
There's another branch where there's more black people. So it is kind of most of the others are brown, and of course the white are the rest. And when I say brown, I mean Indian and Latino. And it is like that. I would say it's when we see another black person, we're like, hey, there's 2 other.
Let's do lunch.
Yeah, it's like we kind of
come together.
Click together. We're cool. Our CIO that they just hired was a black man, and it's that I thing when he's like, oh my God, they've hired a black person, and he's now the head person, and so he got the eyes, the stares, the conversations, the whisper, and you can see it. It's not even like they're trying to hide it as like whisper water cooler conversations. It is different. It's interesting and different being in I would have thought that being in IT after all these years, there would be more women, and not just in an administrative role, like actual women in doing more IT stuff. And so when I'm a portfolio manager now, and I had to work with one of my vendors, and they brought on a new program manager from the contractor side. And when she came in to meet me, it was a Black woman. And we were like, oh my God. So yeah, we go out now and do happy hour and the whole 9 things. So yeah, it's interesting, but I've had, not saying it's an intentional, it's more of a gravitational thing. Yeah, it is very interesting.
How about Faith and LaShawn? Have you, Faith?
Sean, you want to go first or me?
Oh.
Sean, stop. Oh.
Look, so I'm in San Diego, so it's a very unique experience in that we're not even the majority minority in San Diego. You're going to see more Latino, you're going to see more Pacific Islanders, and then Black people in terms of like the next minority. So I'm used to just being in a space where I'm the one and the only. Like, not only am I the only Black woman, I'm the only Black person, in my particular intellectual property group. So I'm like, I wish it would be an other, you know what I mean, where I could say like, oh, it's another Black whatever. So I'm just kind of got adjusted to kind of moving in the space where I'm going to be the only one, and gotten accustomed to that, and kind of finding ways to connect with people on other levels, as opposed to just like, oh, you're another Black person, like finding other things that we have in common and connecting with my colleagues in that kind of way. So
Anybody else like go-go music?
Right. Who's from DC? Like those kind of things. So yeah, it's a really unique experience, but I'm used to it at this point.
Okay. Yeah, I'm probably the odd man out in this question. I am, so one, this could be a whole show by itself. But I'm at a large financial services firm. And I got to disclaim it's in DC, right? So my experience in DC is not the same across the rest of the country.
Right.
But in DC, it's not, there's no issue, I'd say, with recruiting at least experienced hires in DC. There's like a large, I'd say, brown community at my firm when you're talking about the junior levels. What you don't see is flip. So for you guys, I mean, I suppose it's not even a pyramid, it's just nobody, but at least for me, it's a pyramid. So what we wouldn't see is looking up at the partners and directors, any Black or brown or for sure Black women partners or directors. That's where it would be absent, right? So we bring you in, but then there was a ceiling, at least that's what it felt like. And I remember when I was coming up, one of my mentors asked me, like, did you aspire to be a partner or whatever? And I was like, what? We can do that? And the question it's like, why would you ask that question? I was like, well, look up. Ain't a Black woman in this firm who has kids. Like, I had kids the whole time too. Like, who's married, and I'm not just saying like married on paper, but like got a relationship, like they're married, right? And is involved in their kids' lives, and like couldn't come up with one, right? So that was what I didn't see. And now over the years, I share my story at work that like I'm the woman that I was looking for to see, but it's not that many of us. It's 2%. At that level, right? So it's getting better, and it's a different. I suppose I realized a few years of my career, and what made me realize it was my husband and I went to an event at work. It was at one of the partners' houses, and he was like, we're the only 2 Black people here. I was like, what? Oh, like I was so used to being that wasn't even a thing to point out, right? And because he asked that question, it made me more aware of it. And so when I would go to other places, if I had to travel for work, I would realize, dang, this office, they're having a completely different experience than what we have in DC. So what that must feel like the more promotions I got, the more you would realize it, or you show up to a training somewhere and you get in the training, you like, dang, I'm the only one here. So I didn't have to deal with that experience on a consistent basis of kind of being the only one, but the higher I've advanced, that's the experience. And it's a whole, I don't know, like I said, that could be a whole show.
Yeah.
DC is a very special place in a good way.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it could be a whole different show, and y'all have said some really good points. I think that DC definitely spoils us as a Black community. But Faith, to your point, I think when you get, I mean, and I'm in a pretty big agency as well. When you get to the executive level, you may not. That's when the diversity starts to die down. Not only male, female, but Black, white, right? I think the second point there is what you said, having Black females at the executive level. We're just starting to see that. There's a couple reasons I think are in play for that. Is that if you notice, non-Black women at some of the higher levels, do not have robust families, or they had kids late. One, and most Black women that are at the executive level are in those categories, or they're younger go-getters, right? You know what I mean? That had to balance their families. And just in my agency alone, I'm starting to see a lot of Black women reach that executive level with families that are married, that aren't just married on paper, that have kids and so forth. And I started seeing that a lot during COVID, you know what I mean? And seeing the Black female executives kind of rise up in the group. But just know that it's not just women that deal with that. Men deal with that as well. Like prior to me entering the federal government, I worked at a couple different companies where I was the only Black executive in the room. You know what I mean? Amongst a bunch of folks that were not Black, some brown, majority Caucasian, but that's definitely a difficult thing. But this video reminds me of like Devil's Advocate for some odd reason. I don't know why. If that's the play that they're playing in that. It
goes into something like that. It does. It goes into something like that.
Okay, yeah, that's kind of what I was looking at.
You know, it's like that Jordan Peele type them and what you call it. Because at the end, it comes out that the person that's playing this out is the superior Black woman. She's playing this whole thing to her advantage. So.
Yeah, no, Rodney got to tell the whole story, the whole show.
Yeah, before everybody watched
it. The show been out for months. If you didn't watch it by now, that ain't my fault. First of all, none of y'all knew about it, so
we ain't found out about it till the day. Now we want to watch it.
I knew about it.
We damn sure ain't gonna watch it now. You know?
I knew about it, and it's a book. It's also from a book, which I hear the book is better than the show, but I didn't watch it. I tend to have to watch things that I don't have to while I'm working. I don't have to pay attention to, and you got to pay attention to that show. It's too much nuance. That like I look down, I'd miss something important and stay connected. So I
don't know if I'm with this whole genre of making the Black experience a psychological thriller. Like it's hard enough to be Black in America. Now we got to make every story a trauma. And
it is a psychological thriller.
My life is a trauma, son. Yeah, my life is not an psychological
thriller. Because you see,
that's how I am.
We already living it. Now you have to make.
I use movies to escape. I don't like those type of movies. I use my movies. I want to watch a good action joint right quick, or like something that makes me.
You don't want to watch a movie about your life.
But I have to go through everything.
Yeah, I don't want to watch like I'm not into like a lot of drama and like reality show. I like, you know what I mean. I don't like all that.
First of all, you don't watch nothing but the stock exchange, so I don't want to hear your opinion on anything, sir. Nothing. Let's get that straight.
When I do watch TV, I want to watch something of value, man. Something good. You know what I mean?
I don't.
Okay,
I want
well, then
smut
don't watch
and-
TV.
and
Don't
no-
watch
in
TV.
reality
You want
that don't-
something to
is
value,
foolishness.
then TV is not it. TV and social media are the two places you don't go to watch value.
No, there's
You know what
good
I'm saying?
movies that bring value. That's not true, man. You can learn
Name
a lot.
one.
That's not true.
Name one. Name one.
Not no
Say it real
reality
quick.
show.
I said name one.
What good
What do you
movie
mean?
with value?
Yeah, name one. No, name one that Matty Ice watched. Vance, I know you
Ah.
can do it. Matty Ice, I don't believe him at all. I've known this dude there. He ain't gonna sell me on that. We gotta get to these picks, but come on. I'm interested. Now I'm challenging you. If I gotta wear this damn hat, you can name one movie of value. Bet you can't. Not one that came out in the last 5 years. Impossible.
You said a movie
Yeah,
of value. I want to
Yeah,
watch
you
something good. I
said
said I either watch
Yeah,
an
watch
action movie or entertainment or something of value. That's what I said.
All
I
right,
said
all
I
right.
watched.
Well, give me,
Yeah.
I
give
can
me
name a
one
movie of value for you, Matt.
movie of value, Matt. Give me one movie of value you've watched. One.
Pursuit of Happiness, man. One of my favorite movies, man.
That was like 15 years ago.
You don't watch old movies. You all your
don't worry
movies you
about
watch
it.
are new.
Hey, a movie of value last 5 years. One Night in Miami.
You know what I'm
One
saying?
Night in Miami.
Ooh,
was
that was a
good.
good
Yeah,
movie.
that was a good one. There you
Movie
go.
of value.
Yeah, that was
Matty Ice
good.
ain't watched that. One Night. Matty Ice ain't watched that.
I knew
So,
it.
You ain't
was.
watch
I
that,
told you
Matt?
exactly what it was
Nah.
about. You know what I mean? I can tell you who was in it. It's not a true story, but
All right,
is it a
look,
true
look,
story?
we can
No.
bring this back up on our show. Hey, fellas, we gotta get these terrible picks in, which might actually be good because the ladies are gonna pick for us. So we get to pick who represents who in these picks. So since I gotta wear this Jordan Love joint, Kendra is taking my pick. Coach, who's gonna take your pick, and Maddie, who's gonna take your pick? Because that way, if they're wrong, I get to fry y'all, just like, just
Hey,
like you made the
which
pick.
one of y'all watch football?
I
watch it. I haven't watched this
I
season.
watch it. I'm more of a
I'm
basketball
taking
girl,
Faith.
more of an NBA girl.
Because
But I
Faith,
watch,
Faith
I watch
ain't got a
it.
clue. She just gonna pick colors and teams because
I
she'll watch
I
it.
bet you. I
Oh,
bet
nah,
you.
Faith
And
got
I
a clue.
bet you I'm more
All
accurate
these
than
girls got a
with
clue.
the
Yes,
Trust
you
me.
will
All
be.
these
That's
ladies
why I'm
got a football
picking.
clue. They got
That's
a
why I'm
football clue. I
picking Faith.
promise you. They
Faith
may
said
not want to
the
say it out
Philadelphia
loud.
Packers a month ago. So I
Shut
don't
up,
know
son.
about
Philadelphia.
Uh-oh.
All right.
Picking with
Hey,
my
it don't matter
feet.
who
All right,
was it. I
Kendra
don't
got
know.
my pick, so there we go. All right, they picking up pick. Vance, you
I
pull
guess
up
I
the
got the
teams.
time.
Yeah, I mean, I know the games by heart now. So
we
you
make this
got.
Well, the
multiple
thing
choice.
is, there's one game playing right now that Tampa Bay's up 13-3.
Yeah,
So we
I
can't.
mean, Tampa Bay, Philly. That's to be determined on
Yeah, but they
who
can
plays.
give them. But who they gonna play against? Because I don't know who they gonna play against if they win.
Who was
They
winning?
got the winner.
Tampa Bay, right?
Tampa Bay up
Tampa Bay winning.
13-3.
Yeah. Did we pick
13.
Tampa Bay?
Well, you
It don't matter. We already
Yeah,
They
lost.
gotta
they gotta
play the
play.
Lions.
I'm just saying, man.
I don't
Yeah,
care
Tampa
who we
Bay.
pick, man. Come on, let's go, man. They
No.
gonna play
Whoever
the
wins gotta play the
Lions.
Lions, I think.
We
All
start
right.
with the Texans go to Baltimore Saturday.
Texans and Baltimore.
Ooh.
Yeah,
You
Oh,
already know
they're
who
at
wins.
Go
Baltimore.
to
I think they're
I don't know
Baltimore.
that.
they go to
Baltimore.
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 Baltimore is up 8.5.
I love CJ. I love him, but I'm gonna go with Baltimore. I'm going with the Ravens for that one.
Ravens.
Come on,
Probably
coach.
the
Coach, you
Ravens,
still
but I
ain't,
like-
still
I
ain't.
like
Come on.
You already know who.
Yeah.
Come on, Faith. Say the right name, Faith.
It's
Man, you
I mean,
picking.
it's probably Baltimore, but I like
Come on.
Houston.
Huh?
I said it's probably Baltimore, but I like Houston.
That's what I'm talking about. Faith is all.
Coach, come on,
First of
man.
all, this dude made one
But she
good
said,
pick
but she
all
said
year.
the Ravens.
But
Her pick is the
listen,
Ravens, though.
listen, you about
It
to
don't
be
matter.
mad at
Y'all
why I'm
two
saying
picked the
I like
Ravens, so it's the
Houston.
Ravens.
'Cause
Y'all
this
two picked the
week-
Ravens, so it's the Ravens. Don't worry about that.
Ravens.
Don't get confused in Vance's minutia. Okay, let's keep it moving. The Ravens is the pick.
Remember, hey, Faith,
All right.
when
But,
Houston,
look, I
when
gotta give you
Houston
this.
win,
Look,
Faith,
you gonna
Next
be
one,
mad
dog.
when I
Let's
tell
go.
you why I'm picking
Show.
them.
Next one, let's go.
I'm
They
usually
had,
with you, coach. But
Green
Houston
Bay
not
is
winning
at
this week,
San
coach.
Oh,
Coach,
no.
Yeah,
we're
not
usually
at,
with you,
if they were
but
playing in Texas,
yeah,
Houston,
Houston
maybe.
not winning.
I don't know if they're gonna beat Baltimore at home at the crib.
No,
I
they're
don't
not
know.
beating Baltimore this week.
Ravens.
Playoffs?
All right.
Don't talk about it. Playoffs?
Y'all
You
y'all
kidding
better
me?
remember
Playoffs?
that the Ravens have done the same thing the Cowboys have done the last couple years. But
That's
cool.
true.
Coach.
That's a good point.
Coach, if the
Really,
Ravens
Coach?
make it and win the Super Bowl, you gonna get a hat. You gonna get a Lamar jersey.
I'll get a Ravens hat.
Get the fuck out of here.
No, it got to be
Hold
Lamar.
on, slow it down. Hold on, now I'm listening. Hold on. What? So if
If
the
Ravens win
Ravens
Super
make
Bowl,
it to
I'll
the
buy
Super,
Lamar.
you
I'll
said
buy
win
Lamar
or make
jersey.
it? No, win or make it.
But if
We said
Houston
make
wins,
it.
we might get like Slim Thug and Paul Wall and Mike Jump. You know, they might show up for a show. So that's why I'm liking Houston.
Nah, you already got Usher. You ain't getting that. Usher's the halftime show.
I know, but they might do like a pre-perform. You know, like
They
the
may.
game.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
may.
possibly. That'll be dope. You know what I mean?
That's
We
the
know
only
we're not
reason
gonna have a
we go back
Dallas, and we
to
know we're not gonna have a
if
Dallas in
Baltimore
in
makes it
Houston
or
Super Bowl
wins.
no
That's
more.
what I
So
need.
that's a
Wins the
great
Super
thing.
Bowl.
Nah, makes
Really?
it.
Huh?
What do we get if they make it to the Super Bowl?
I'll buy a Baltimore hat if they win.
So
if
you
they
buy
make it. But
a
I'm not-
hat if
I'm-
they make it, and if they win, you buy the Lamar jersey.
I got you. That'll work.
Hey,
I like it. I like it.
Playoffs? Don't talk about
Yeah.
playoffs. You kidding me?
What's
The
next?
next
Playoffs?
game is Green Bay at San Francisco.
San
You
Francisco.
going?
San Francisco. Thank you, Kendra. Thank you.
I
You
may
ride
have to
with
go with
love,
Green
man.
Bay.
You ride with
What
brother
did you say?
love.
I'm telling y'all, though, like Green Bay about to go,
What?
like
I
about
may
to
have
be
to go
like
with Green
that.
Bay
It's-
against.
What did you say?
Who you got, Faith?
I'm gonna go San Francisco.
Thank you, Faith. Thank you. Thank you. I'm about to, yo. I'm the only person.
I pity myself that I gotta be with these fools.
I'm just saying. Good Lord. All right, so we got San Fran on that one, right?
Yeah.
That'll be the end of Jordan Love. Hey,
It
yo,
won't,
if
though,
Jordan
y'all.
Love beat the 49ers,
Hey, I ain't even gonna fake. Like I would
I'ma
pick
go
San
ahead.
Francisco. I would pick San Francisco, but I honestly do think Green Bay got a shot though. Like I'm not
Green
like
Bay
it's not
got
gonna be.
Green Bay's
It's,
doing
it's
shot.
not gonna
like-
be.
I
I think they're
agree.
gonna
It's
shot
gonna be
them.
I agree with
closer than
that.
what you think.
Le who?
It's gonna
Green
be
Bay
closer
got
than
The
what you
her.
think.
Le who?
I'm telling you.
The her.
You gonna have that hat on next week. You know
It's
what I'm
closer
saying?
than it's gonna be closer than what you think.
man,
I think
hey,
so.
yo, you gonna maybe, hey, if they beat that game, I come with a full bodysuit, dog. I'll find it somewhere. Yo,
Hey, hold up.
like, yo, there's no way. There's no way.
You gotta wear the whole Green Bay suit, nigga. The
You gotta have
pants.
a cheese head and everything next week.
Hey, I was in Marshall's today and I saw a Green Bay quilt. I'll go buy that joint and wear it like James Brown when he was leaving the joint. If that happens, there's no way.
Were you
There's
at a
no way.
Marshalls in Wisconsin? What was?
No, I
you
was
in
in
Maryland
Marshall.
and they
I
had
was
a
in
Green
Marshalls
Bay
in Maryland. They had a green, they had a ton of them because ain't nobody buying that here.
Yeah, I'm like, why was that there? Why was that even there? Okay.
I have no.
That's gonna be a good game, though. It's gonna be
It's
closer
gonna
than
be a
what
good
we think.
game. And then you got now you got
Wrong.
Will not be a good game.
Hey, the same dude who's wearing that hat because he talked all the trash last week when we picked Green
And I'm
Bay.
gonna keep on
Against
talking.
Dallas.
Keep on talking. Anyway, let's get the ladies. Let's finish with these
Kansas City
picks.
at Buffalo.
Chiefs.
Boo, y'all lunching. Y'all
Houston.
tripping.
I gotta say Chiefs.
Yeah.
Get off Patrick Mahomes.
He gonna pull it. I mean, he wins.
It's gonna
He
be
always
tough.
find
Not
a way
gonna
to
win
win,
this game.
and I don't even like the Chiefs, but they always find a way to win.
Yep.
Buffalo about to win. Come on, Faith, what you got?
I say Kansas City.
She said
Lord
Kansas
have
City already. Yeah.
Lord
You
have
think
mercy.
Bills
They
gonna
are,
win
I
that
feel
game?
like they find a way. I think.
So
it's
the
not-
the last
find a
game is
way.
undetermined because it's
They-
the
yeah, that's
winner
the plan,
of
right?
Philly and Tampa Bay,
But let's go with who's winning right now. Tampa Bay versus
Detroit.
The Lions.
The Lions gonna win that.
I
I'm gonna
got
go
the
with Tampa
Lions.
Bay.
Okay, I don't know.
Tampa Bay might not win the game they in.
Okay, Lions.
Lions for
You
me.
getting help over there, Faith?
Mind your business.
There we go.
Tell them jump
There
in
we
there.
go.
Tell them come on
Hey.
in here, man. What? Hold on. Hold on. Go ahead.
Wait, where are they playing?
What did you say?
They playing in Detroit again?
Yeah. Detroit
Oh,
got
okay,
home
yeah,
field
no,
until
Lions.
next round. Till San Fran.
Eminem's gonna
Two
pop
seed.
out again, and the Lions are gonna win. Yeah.
Man.
All right. So, of course,
I'm
because
lying.
the game is not in, I'm not able to give our bet what it's going to be. Let's see. If I just put these three teams in, what will it be? Hold on. I can't even put those three teams in. Bet slip.
I can't believe y'all didn't pick Green Bay, man. Green Bay put up
I did.
40 on Dallas.
Dallas
That's why I think they might put it out.
Whatever.
Dallas is garbage. We've learned.
Hey,
that Dallas is garbage.
Whatever.
Well,
That's
Babylon,
what
they gonna put it
I
out.
was thinking. They might
All
pull it out, but again, they were playing Dallas. So
I got one word about Dallas.
Le who? The her.
Whatever.
That's what I got to say
Whatever.
about Dallas. I had to wear the hat because I chose to choose them in my stupidity. You know, that was.
Le who? The her.
The true
Okay, so you don't
Dallas
bring up old
always
stuff,
shows up in the playoffs.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they do. All right.
Every time.
Whatever.
And
Hold
Baltimore.
on. Why we doing that?
Still, forever.
You
We'll
ain't
always.
wearing that last night?
No.
Yeah, she was
Never
wearing
will.
it. You was wearing that shirt. You was wearing that hat last night, weren't you? No.
Actually,
Was that the
no.
hat?
That's probably why we
Oh,
lost.
probably
Because
so.
I ain't put it on.
There you go.
It's all right.
It's all right. You know, they whenever it comes to Dallas, this is what they say.
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs?
No.
We at least
all
we
good.
make it to the playoffs. We don't do
Hey,
well,
that don't mean
but
nothing.
we make it.
Hey, when I go to the club, I'm not looking for the 6th or 7th best girl. You got to go in there. You trying to win
What
number
the-
one. You want the Super Bowl. You want the Super Bowl.
You're not looking at any
sitting here.
girls unless it's Vicky.
Playoffs? Don't talk.
I was in the. I have been to the club, and when I
We-
did go to
we
the club
already know what to
30 years
expect
ago,
sometimes. Y'all get
nobody
y'all
wants to
heartbroken,
say,
man.
Nobody wants to. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's sitting there, but it's okay. Hey, I'm glad y'all made it to the playoffs and lost. Unfortunately, because y'all did, and I got to wear this hat. But we're gonna go ahead and end the show. Hey, ladies, I want to thank y'all again for joining us this week. This
Thank you
was
for having
a
us.
classic, and definitely enjoyed having it here and just listening to y'all perspective and the things that y'all had to say. And this is one of the reasons why I didn't create the show, why God led me to create this show. You know what I'm saying? Where we can have these conversations. God has blessed me with a bunch of men that I didn't understand that they were great fathers and great men. And God has also blessed me with a bunch of women who are great moms, great people, great everything, that they can come in here. We can have these type of conversations with each other. And there's no animosity. It's just love. We just talking about what's real for us as a culture and people, man. So if anybody, I'm gonna go ahead and let everybody go around and throw the if you got anybody you want them to follow you on anything, whatever the case may be, make sure that they can check you out on that and let us know. Faith, you got anything?
Nah, I'm a social media stalker. Don't follow me. I got like 3 posts ever in life. I'm just in everybody else's business.
Well, you can follow her volleyball championship daughters. You know what I'm saying? You can
do
check
that.
that out. You know what I'm saying? You can check out that she is a great woman and mom and wife and everything, because I've met her husband and the first day I met him, he crashed his car and almost died
Oh my
leaving
gosh!
house.
You
So,
listen, see now.
Why are we telling these stories?
You not telling these stories on the podcast?
but the good
This
news
is not a podcast
he
story.
did bring the Dre CD when he came and hung out with me. That was the best part. That's why I knew we was gonna be friends. But it's also so Faith has come home and my wife was sitting in the back seat sleep. And I had to
feel
drive her
like
out the
we should
joint.
not
So
share these stories on
hey,
social
this is
media.
what the podcast is
But
about.
I'm
This
gonna
is what
talk
the
over you
podcast is
so
about.
nobody hears you. But
Hey,
I'm
this
gonna
is my
say,
cast. I can do what I want. Anyway, LaShawn, you got anything you want to anything you want to throw out there? Nah, I know you in
No,
Cali. You like all y'all East Coast banders. I don't even want to talk to y'all.
Yeah, it was 7 degrees and sunny today, so y'all stay warm.
It's only
But
6
school closed
16
tomorrow.
out there. She still got some more day left.
And
Right.
she got the flannel. She got the
No,
flannel
it's
on
dark
like it's
now.
hot. You know what I'm saying? Like it's cold. I'm sorry. She got the flannel on it. Well, Kendra, I know you do. Go ahead and tell us where we can follow you and what you're doing and what's coming up. If you got any events or anything going on.
Yes, you can follow me at Lady K Wellness on IG. That's Lady K _ Wellness on IG. And for the cleaning business, Scrubbies Clean on all platforms. I don't have any events coming up right now. I'm probably going to have one coming up at the Fabletics store in Tyson's Corner in the next month or so. I'll be teaching a class on Sunday, so I will keep you updated on that.
Hey, we follow. Follow her if you're not following her, and y'all know how we do it. Thank you, Matty Ice. Thank you, Coach. Another great episode. I'm glad y'all join me in my journey of my own mental health and wellness. And hopefully it helps somebody out there. You can reach us on all platforms, dad_mentality. And just God bless. Good night.
Good night.
Won't let me quit it. Hold on. I don't know what just happened. That's cool. All right, we're going to see. I'm going to have to exit this out later. I literally went to the screen. I have no idea how I got there. All right, there we go.